check this out. Check this out right now. Chip Perry is brewing solutions. Share this around. Here we go. What's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lenartz, the subprime hero.
And we are brewing solutions live on the Car Guy Coffee podcast. And we are excited to be brewing this special brew today. Telling you, Fred, we are definitely getting upgraded.
Oh, man, are we getting upgraded? We have somebody on the show that we consider a legend. I think that all you all consider a legend. But not only is he a legend, but he's currently doing some amazing things in automotive that will blow your mind. He's thinking forward. He's thinking about the future of automotive. And I think that's something that he's always done and always had his finger on the pulse of, and is a reason why he's been so successful. It's not just about the success. It's about the people around him. And that's the thing I love about this guy, is that he is about his team. He's about the folks that he deals with. He's about his clients that he deals with. He's about this industry. And folks, we are getting an upgrade today, and I'm excited to announce who we have. Lou, before we do that, well, we do got to make sure you guys know what to do.
We got to help this out, everybody. We got to make sure that we get as many people that are needing to get a little upshift and uplift inside of their day to get inside of the cafe. So help everybody out and tag a car guy.
Tag a car gal and share. Get it out there.
Word out, everybody, because this is what it is that it means to be brewing solutions on a next level. This incredible solutionary has been making great things happen for the industry in the glory days, and he's bringing glory days in front of us again. So we cannot be more excited to welcome into the cafe today an incredible legend that so many of you know, so many of you respect, and truly walks around with the most humble heart. Such an incredible aura and presence that's around him because of the excellence that he walks in. But he's also just a down-to-earth guy that sips on a cup of joe just like me and you. And we want to make sure that we get the most people in here interacting with this incredible legend today. So let's get ready to welcome him in, Fred. You ready for this?
I'm so ready for this.
Let's do it.
Folks, this gentleman has been doing things in this industry for a long time. I think we've all heard of this. Everywhere he goes, you always hear about the Chip Perry era, right? And when I hear this, I think it's amazing because that is the type of thing that leaves. That's a legacy that he's leaving everywhere he goes. Right. He doesn't leave a place untouched, a stone unturned, right? And I'm excited to have him on the show. The one, the only, Mr. Chip Perry.
Welcome. There he is. What's going on, Chip? Welcome to the party, brother. How are you today?
Wow. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Lou. It's an honor to be with you guys. And you have an amazing audience, amazing presence, amazing energy, enthusiasm. You fuel our industry. And I'm excited to be part of your program.
Well, we're appreciating that you're here today in your team, and I love everyone that's there to support you also, because you support them so well that they're there lifting you up on their shoulders, going, Chip Perry, Chip Perry.
Right?
Literally, that's what your team is like, and that's what anyone who's ever been around you is like. People who've worked with you in the past still talk about you, and that's what's so amazing about your reputation. And we're excited to have you here. Thank you so much, and we're blessed. But Lou, how do we break this whole thing off?
I mean, you know how we do this. Right now, I'm on the starstruck still. We had 5 minutes of fire with Chip at an incredible event of Digital Dealer this year. And man, did he really drop some fire of the big things that are going on with him. So he's already practiced in the solutionary way of making sure that we drop F-bombs everywhere that we go. But for the sake of the show, and for those of you car guys and car gals that need a refresher on what to do to make sure that you can keep growing, we are going to apply 3 F's before we start this 5-liner, and that's forgive, focus, and fly, so that we can keep growing. So let the legend do it right here live on the show. The one, the only Chip Perry. Let's forgive, focus.
So Chip, it looks like you might have a hand that's kind of held up. If it is, we do the one hand
on
where
it,
you
just like you're driving.
Forgive, focus, and fly. All right. So let's do this thing together, and we'll get this thing going, and we'll get the show rolling.
All right.
All right. So hands on your shoulder.
3. One hand on the shoulder if you got it. There we go.
There it is. I'll do it with Chip one-handed.
2, 3. Forgive. Swipe it off.
Focus.
Right here. Put the hands right here to focus.
And then fly. And keep growing.
And keep growing.
We appreciate that so much, Chip. Thank you so much. We are here. We're going to keep growing. We're going to have some fun, because we're here to be Bruin Solutions, right? And we're excited about that, to have you on the show to do so. Lou, let's go.
Let's get this rocking and rolling. So real quick, Chip, we're going to go ahead and set the tone for this 5-liner. Of course, everybody in the industry that knows anybody in the industry knows that you've been brewing solutions for a long time. But nobody necessarily is zeroed in on Chip's why. So, Chip, what's your why, sir? Why do you get up to do what it is that you do on a daily basis?
Well, it's nice of you guys to ask, and you have had some amazing people like Brian Benstock recently, and Brian Kramer and Liza Borchis talking about their why. And they all have, I think, a common theme of wanting to have a positive impact on the industry and the people around them. When I was a young man, I grew up in a Marine Corps family, and I went to 10 different schools growing up. And I wasn't a very engaged student until I got to college. But in high school, I encountered in English class a poem by a guy named Henry David Thoreau, actually a book called Walden Pond. And in that book, he had a line that really hit me, which is that the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. And it basically spoke to how, the day-to-day world of many people's lives is kind of humdrum. And I said to myself, not me.
Come on. Not this guy, right? Come on.
I said to myself, you're going to do something. You don't have much going for you right now, fella. Mediocre student and all that. But I got to college, saw a clean slate, discovered that hard work pays off, and then had some really great mentors and bosses who helped me, understand what good people management was all about, and that ambition mixed with hard work and a little bit of luck can make a difference in one's life. So I worked hard, and my why today is enabling the team I work with through the power of our collective efforts to have a positive impact on the customer experience in automotive retail. That's our why. Our mission at A2Z is to make automotive retailing simpler and more profitable. It's very profitable right now, but it isn't very simple.
Come on.
I think nothing that is worth being part of is really simple. I think that we don't get excitement out of simpleness. Our camera is freezing right now, folks. I just want you guys to bear with us for a moment. We'll get this fixed as we go. But Chip, man, that's very profound. That's very that's exactly kind of where I thought your heart was in that anyway. You know, the way you are and what you try to do and your purpose is so out there. It's transparent. You know, I think with everything that you do, the people that you deal with, the companies that you touch, the dealerships that you've been able to help, the industry that you've been part of, we all feel that with you.
Well,
You know, I think that you pass that on very well.
Thank you. And at autotrader.com, when we were growing rapidly and building a wonderful company, it became very clear to me that as we were moving fast and we had a strong leadership team, that there were so many great ideas flowing from everybody within our company and from our customers around how we can improve, how a digital marketplace would help dealers and consumers in the automotive shopping and retail process. And so it struck me that the people are the secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I passed that idea along to everyone at AutoTrader, and it was an energizing idea. And then they came up with a saying, which was they would say that when they did great work, they were bleeding orange. That was our corporate color back then.
That's right.
So when you have a team that is that energized, it's a wonderful thing. And for many years, 16 years up and to the right, we had a great run. And another thing that propelled us was a belief that nothing wilts as fast as laurels rested upon.
Mm.
That was a mantra that we had, because we got to the top of our category fairly quickly, because we had great backing from Cox Enterprises, and we had a good business idea that really took off. But there were lots of sharks around us.
Absolutely.
A lot of competitors, chasing, and I believe that if you're the best way to be knocked off your perch is to forget where you came from, which was basically nothing in the beginning. So so we had this attitude, mantra, belief that that we had to keep innovating, keep pushing the envelope, always making it better, never be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a motto or a belief that I've tried to live my life by. And people often ask me now, well, gosh, you're kind of a dinosaur in our industry. You've been around for a long time. Why are you still working? And because most of my colleagues from college and high school have all retired by now, of course, business school.
Sure.
But I really enjoy this industry, and I enjoy working with a young team of enthusiastic, talented people who are making a difference and shining a light on solutions that I think the industry is going to embrace in a significant way in the future, even if they're not being embraced today.
Oh, wow. And that is so true and so right on the money. And I absolutely love what you said there. Your staff, fantastic staff. This staff at A2Z Sync. I mean, I'm dealing with Chris. I deal with Tori, of course. I love them both so much. They love you and they honor you and they want to do everything they can. And of course, I got to interview Jasmine, fantastic young lady who is just remarkable and very confident in what she talks about and what she does. And she loves the product so much. And of course, while we were there, Susan was there also. And Susan, hello, thank you so much. She was an amazing addition to the team, and I think that she definitely brings a lot of flavor to what you're trying to bring into the market. One thing I want to point out, folks, is that when we're talking about AutoTrader was an amazing company, is an amazing company, and he built this thing up to a $2 billion powerhouse. The notes. 2,000 employees. He was dealing with 20,000 plus dealers across the country with this product when he was there. How amazing is that, my friends? That is something you talk about all the competitors out there. Well, he knocked them out the park. He was like, ding, ding, autotrader.com. We are on it. I read a little bit more about your past and where you came from. Before that, you kind of found that market in a unique way. And I thought that was really cool. I don't want to get too far into it, but at the same time, I do want to bring this up. Before you actually came up with the idea for autotrader.com, and you guys all worked that out, and you were the very first employee there, and you got it to grow to where it became. You were working with the LAtimes.com, right?
Yes, I had a background in the automotive in the newspaper industry. Before
Absolutely.
I jump into that, you mentioned some of the great people at A2Z, like Jasmine and Chris and Tori.
Absolutely.
And Tori Morandi, and we've got Natasha Geiner, who's the real co-founder of the company, along with Matt Packer, TO, and Brian Ali, our head of sales, and Brian McDonald, our leadership team. Well, there's a common characteristic among all these people in these young companies that take the personal risk of failure to attempt something big.
There you go.
There's an amazing passion and commitment and belief and vision that they have to try something that is very unproven. And what we're doing now is starting to prove itself, but in our industry, it's still a very small phenomenon. A little bit like in the early days of Auto Trader, what was small then became big. I believe what is small now, meaning a modern, streamlined approach to managing the automotive transaction with fewer people involved and less time and more efficiency along the way. Like now, then, in the late 90s, when we started AutoTrader.com, the big idea was, coming from my experience in the newspaper industry, it was to create what I call the MLS of the car business.
That's right.
When we built the big newspaper online site, pre-internet, the Prodigy Network, to launch it, after we put the whole newspaper online and the classified listings were online, I went out and talked to consumers. I haven't, I worked in a number of industries, but I wouldn't say I've grown up in any of these industries. So I always came at it with an open mind and a curious approach to try to understand deeply what's happening and what would light the fires of consumers or advertisers, dealers. And what I learned in that context was that people really weren't that interested in reading an online newspaper, but they were fascinated with the notion of a deeper classified search experience, whether it be homes, jobs, or cars. And in the late 90s, only 5% of cars for sale in America were published in local newspapers. And consumers in Los Angeles were telling me, why don't you show us more cars? Why don't you show us pictures of those cars? So the idea I took to Cox back then was, let's build the MLS of the car business. Make them all visible. Make it possible for people to shop for a car anywhere, instead of trying to find the 95% that weren't advertised in newspapers by chewing up their shoe leather on weekends. It's going from time. No one had ever done it before, but I felt it would have great benefit to the industry, consumers and dealers, and ultimately OEMs, up by taking a chapter out of the book that Microsoft used to attack a company called Netscape, which created the first web browser. The thing that they did was, at Microsoft, they made the Microsoft web browser free, and it destroyed the business model of Netscape, which is the first player. So I thought, well, why don't we try to become comprehensive by making it free? So we made it free for dealers to list in the early days. And I had the very strong sponsorship from a couple of key executives at Cox Enterprises who believed in this idea, David Easterly and Dennis Berry in particular, and they were my sponsors and mentors in the early days there. They believed in this idea, and our belief was and the business model became charging for listings on top of free. We called it featured listings, and they later created a name for that model. It's called freemium. It wasn't called freemium. You couldn't go to a conference and hear pundits talk about it, but it worked. It took off, and we ultimately built a company that from scratch became 2,000 of us, 800 field salespeople working with car dealers. That's the other thing. Tech companies would say, Chip, why do you want to have field salespeople? Well, it's because dealers want service. They don't want to self-provision. They don't want to have to go in and figure out some tech thing. They want to be aided on how to get customers in their store. So we built a very passionate, energetic sales and service team at Autotrader.com. And I loved working with our salespeople. And I had the great opportunity to be in about 700 stores over the years, traveling from city to city with our reps. And I always found the best ideas came from our reps and from our customers.
Amen.
So I called it the list. I would go out in the field and bring back a list, and then my management team would kind of like, okay, Chip, what's next? What you hear this time? So anyway, it was an exciting time. 16 years up and to the right. It was an amazing run. We helped the country, America, learn how to shop for cars differently, and dealers who resisted the idea in the beginning, dealers.
Uh-oh. Folks. Chip, we lost your
I think
sound.
we lost your sound, Chip. One sec. Give it one moment because that's some good stuff.
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
I don't want
we've-
that to be wasted.
So just dealers were resistant at the beginning. That's the last spot that we heard you. And man, was I leaning in.
Your mic is muted if you can hear us,
It's on
Chip.
mute, yeah.
They helped me build a belief
Bam!
that watching dealers be successful at Auto Trader through providing more information about their cars, by being more competitive with their prices, by providing more photos. It taught me and helped me understand that dealers can win with transparency and a better experience. So I carry that forward in everything I've done, and I think it's still true today that the car buying experience, which is not well liked by many Americans, although despite the best efforts of many great dealers in America, there's a lot of negative stereotypes, and dealers have an opportunity to stand out and win with a better experience. That's right. What our company at A2Z is all about.
I love that. And it's because it's not about what our experience is. It's about what the client's experience is, right? And the more that we can give them a better one, the better our experience will be. I think the less resistance that we get from a client, that makes our experience phenomenal, right? But that's the thing. We need to make it frictionless for them. And I think what you guys provide is a frictionless experience. And what you're trying to put out there with your software is to allow the dealers who, even if you do even have this process, this is going to make your process even better. And that's what I really love about what you're doing. And I see it. I have some dealers out there that are currently on that A2Z style of sales, and I know that it would benefit them a lot to be part of the A2Z Sync. And definitely want to connect them with you and make sure that they get a chance to at least sit down with the demo and learn more about your product. Because I know as this product goes and as it gets out into the market, it's just going to get better. I know how you guys are. You're not going to just be living there based off your laurels, hoping that this one product that you guys first came out with works always. You're going to be looking for ways to evolve, adapt, and make it better for everyone as your clients start to give you that information. That's why field agents are amazing. Why going out and visiting stores and learning from the agents, and also, like you said, from the clients, hearing their feedback to make the product better for the future. I absolutely love what you're talking about here, Chip. And that's important. You know, we talked about it a little bit. You were with the LAtimes.com, then you decided to, in the middle of it, you came up with this idea for Auto Trader. You know, the next question I have for you is what got you into automotive? Was it that shift right there? What was that mindset that made you go, I want to get into automotive?
Well, yes, I was fortunate to be involved in the very early days of internet exploration, and I could see that classified categories were going to get tremendously transformed. By the availability of comprehensive information, rapid downloading of content, and all that. And
absolutely,
the old style of perusing a newspaper, I felt, was going to go by the wayside. And one day I got a call from Cox Enterprises in Atlanta from Los Angeles, and they said, "We'd like you to start the digital version of Autotrader.com." So I got invited into the industry, and it was a blessing. The folks at Cox were fabulous to me for so many years. They gave us the room to innovate and grow and explore. There were no guidebooks on how to do it back then. And we were fortunate, the folks at Cars.com, Mitch Golub and Alex Vedder were there at the same time, innovating in parallel with us. We had it's great to have a strong competitor to keep you motivated. And we enjoyed, innovating together in the industry. And now today, being at A2Z, when I discovered this company, it was invented by the folks at the Shop Automotive Group in Denver.
Wow.
Aaron Wallace was the owner, and Natasha Geiner was his longtime F&I director. And they together, brainstormed the idea of creating a system, a platform, software that would absorb the entire transaction so totally that one person on one screen in one app, without tabs, without TOs, could handle the entire transaction smoothly and address the pain points that people feel and talk about when they talk about car buying. We did a survey recently where we asked people around the country, 1,000 folks through YouGov, which is a modern Gallup poll, what do you most dislike about car buying? And they said that the top three things were the amount of time it takes to buy a car. Second, the way in which aftermarket products are presented. And then also the back and forth with sales managers and the time that took. So, what I've learned is that there's a group of dealers in America who take very seriously trying to improve the customer experience. They don't just assume that by being nice and professional, they're addressing pain points. They go after the pain points. And so A2Z had a number of these clients, early ones like the Motorworks Group in Chicago and the Chapman Group in Arizona, and the obviously Champ and others, the Nelson Group in Tennessee and Oklahoma. And from there, we built a larger customer base that includes other passionate dealers like Brian Benstock and Liza Borchis, who have been on your show, Adam Sims out in California, progressive dealers who take a look at the pain points in the industry and say, let's do something about it. Let's just not accept it. Let's just not accept it. Because if you look at the most dealers across the country, there's a lot of great dealers that provide great customer experiences, but they tolerate and accept some of these fundamental pain points because they're so ingrained in the traditional sales process.
Right.
And the notion of trying to sell a car without the F&I specialist involved in the way they are today. The notion of having a salesperson present F&I products. The notion of having one screen, one tab, one system, absorb it is beyond most dealers' ability to imagine and see how that could work.
Absolutely.
So when I saw what Aaron Wallace and Natasha Geiner had built, and then I saw the results that it was creating for the dealerships, the results were very interesting. Customers loved the experience. Salespeople embraced it because it's a much better job. And then most importantly, the dealers' financial results improved significantly because their F&I results got better, despite industry conventional wisdom that they'll decline. So when I saw that amazing trifecta of benefits, I said, I want to become part of this. You don't have much more runway, fella. I told myself, but let's use this runway that you've got next few years to try to help the industry, make an advancement in one of the most important problems and opportunities, which is the negative perception that car buyers have of the car buying experience all across the country. Let's try to fix that. So we at A2Z are a bunch of zealots, just like we were at Auto Trader back in the early days. We're zealots. You have to be zealous about something like this and passionate to take on the risk of helping an industry adopt an unproven idea. It's proven, but at a scale that hasn't quite attracted yet broad interest in the industry. We have about 50 rooftops working with us, small companies still, but there's such amazing results that these 50 dealerships are achieving that we're encouraged, and we're not allowing anything to get in our way of spreading the word of how positive this can be if a dealer is willing to step back and say, okay, things are great right now in our industry. They're great. But maybe now is the best time to address some of these fundamental underlying structural problems that are generally accepted. But if we get out ahead of it, if we create a better customer experience now, we'll be in better shape in the future when margins do normalize and when OEMs are coming after us with even tougher rules and requirements around how a car should be sold. If we already have a better experience than any OEM can create, we'll have something to resist their their overtures with.
Some of the technical difficulty that's
There, guys.
on over here, but the full picture that Chip is putting out there, and for those of you that are listening, for those of you that are watching live, for those of you that are watching on the replay, for those of you that are listening to the podcast, understanding that Chip has mastered this flow of making sure to keep himself invigorated with fresh ideas of how to push the envelope.
Yeah,
I
love
like
it.
to call that childlike wonder. Okay.
Mhm.
And childlike wonder is contagious. Childlike wonder is something that takes us all on a journey of what can be. I love, Chip, how you explained how difficult it truly is for us to get out of our own way because of what's worked a time before.
Yeah, true.
Right. I would, quoting a scripture that iron sharpens iron. That is very true. That can be. That does help. Right. But that's not the best way to sharpen iron. Right. There's a better method to doing it. And there are tools that we get to use. There are things that we are able to take advantage of when we are trying to go to the next level. And when we have people like Chip that are constantly finding teams to keep them encouraged, he spoke about the youthful, kind of like the jubilance that a youth has in this industry, where they're always trying to find out, well, what can I do next? Once they figure out how to slam dunk the ball, then they want to figure out how to slam dunk the ball through their legs and around the back, right? or okay, I did a hat trick today. Can I push it to 4?
Well,
Can I push it to 5?
That
right?
is, that's a big deal. And he does that really well. And one of the things that, I hear about is something that you're doing different with the way that it's a unique way of dealing and training, and it's simplify the tech stack.
Yeah.
Explain that to us a little bit before we get to the next question. What is exactly the meaning of simplifying the tech stack?
Well, simplifying the tech stack means that, I'm sorry, I shifted to a different place here, so hopefully I have better.
I love that view. What a nice area. That's classy.
It's like a portrait.
Thank you. Simplifying the tech stack means removing the complexities, the multiple screens, and the multiple tools that have to be employed during a transaction. We've become accustomed in this industry to having lots of tabs, lots of passwords, lots of things open at once. And when you transition from one to the next, there's often hiccups. And from the user's experience perspective, it's not completely transparent to them, because they're seeing you jump from screen to screen, and some of the style of presentation of the data is changing along the way. So simplifying the tech stack makes the process more efficient and pleasing and transparent to the customer, and more simple and more efficient for the dealer. So that's what the A2Z platform does. We absorb the entire transaction into one customer-facing experience. The platform pushes and pulls from the CRM. People the inventory search, we absorb desking and first pencil, we absorb finance app and finance return approval, we absorb menu, and we push into the DMS at the end. But very importantly, the technology by itself doesn't transform any dealership's process.
Come on.
What we do is help with intensive training, pre-launch, during the launch, and post-launch, help dealers adopt a more efficient process. Some dealers go all the way to one person with their whole teams. Some do it in a hybrid way in their stores, where they keep some of their salespeople in a traditional mode, working with F&I manager who's a team lead. Some use it without going to one person at all. But the purpose is to have one customer-facing system or interface that is so simple, essentially, that enables the and transparent and easy to absorb and understand, that the customer is very comfortable with it, and the salespeople learn it so easily that they can do it. We also have observed that when it's used outside of a one-person mode, there's really good information that flows from the front of the deal to F&I ahead of time. So there's less of a cold introduction to the F&I menu introduction, because the F&I manager has a better understanding of the customer and their needs. There's also more consistency in the process because the same steps have been followed with every customer. That's one of the things that you observe when you walk around this industry is even dealers that have a process, if you interview individual F&I managers and individual salespeople in the store, they often present deals in their own personal style, which results in not complete consistency across customers over many hundreds and thousands of deals. So one of the hallmarks of great companies that create customer experiences, they really focus on the details and they try to make it consistent. And that's what one of the things our system does. So the combination of the training and the technology is what is producing these amazing results. And it starts online and goes all the way in store. So folks using our system can configure a deal from home, and then they'll know that their payments and all the calculations will exactly match in first pencil. And if there aren't any changes, that deal can fly right through into the DMS in a matter of minutes. So we're excited to be able to bring a fast, efficient, streamlined approach to automotive retail to our industry. And it's exciting to see the early adopting dealers, like some of the ones you've had on your show, Mr. Brian Benstock and Miss Liza Borchis and others like them, innovators. These are true innovators.
Absolutely.
They're not standing still. They're pushing the envelope. They're saying, why not now? Why not now? Let's fix some of the structural problems in our industry. Let's not accept them. Let's not tolerate them. That's what I love about the customers we work with.
Absolutely. And that's why they love working with you too, Chip, because you're right on board with that. That it gets you excited, right? It gets your staff excited. It gets the industry excited when we're looking to evolve and get better. When we can find a way to make the experience for everyone so much more, that's phenomenal. You just named a lot of amazing people. Brian Benstock, Liza Borchis. I mean, both of them are people that I definitely look up to. We've been honored to have on the show also. But these are people that a lot of people consider mentors, right, Lou?
Yes, definitely mentors to many, as many would say the same about you.
Absolutely.
So with that, we want to know who have been the incredible solutionaries that had the chance to pour into your cup that has overflowed and blessed this industry so much. Who were some of the mentors for Chip Perry?
Well, I'd say that in my past life, I've had some great managers I've learned from in the industries I've been in. I think that in our industry, the people that I've learned the most from are some of the most thoughtful and brilliant people I've ever had a chance to work with. Among the dealers, I would say Carl Sewell, and John and Tim Bergstrom in Wisconsin, Steve Germain and John Malashenko at Germain organization. And then among the vendor world, I would say that I've been blessed to work with, I think, two of the true geniuses in the used car industry. One is Dale Pollock. Hope you have him on your show sometime. Dale has an amazing story to tell. He's so passionate. He's so close to his customers. You've never seen a CEO of a company stay as close to his customers as Dale did over the years. And then invented a whole new methodology, a way of thinking about how used cars should be managed and sold, and then a software platform that supported that methodology. That's a cool thing. And then in a similar vein, another gentleman that I had fortunate opportunity to work closely with and learn from is Bob Hollinshead, who has built a company called AccuTrade, earlier a company called Buybook Technologies. Bob is an amazing guy. He was the largest wholesale dealer in the world, sold more cars in Mannheim to other dealers than any other person on earth for the last 30 years. And he invented a system that could price a car anytime, anywhere, as long as he could get some decent condition report on it. And so he recently sold his company to Alex Vetter at Cars.com, and they're going to, benefit. That company will benefit from Bob's tool, which brings more transparency to the used car transaction, both for the consumer and for the dealer, because it provides such amazing back end information that most dealers don't have about a car they're not accustomed to selling. So those two people, I got such inspiration from watching them and learning from them, as well as the dealers that I mentioned and many others.
Yeah,
So
I guarantee it.
all I've tried to do is make like a sponge over the years,
Yes,
and observe the facts on the ground, not be too preconceived in my notions of how I thought this industry should evolve, but try to look for the unmet needs.
Yes.
I've always tried to dig deeply for what the unmet need is, whether it's a dealer or consumer and OEM, and then prioritize them, and then problem solve around those unmet needs to see if we couldn't come up with a solution that would make the situation better for everybody. And that's what we did at AutoTrader. That's what we did at TrueCar while I was there, and now at A2Z Sync. You know, I'm so excited about going deep into the actual transaction itself. You know, as an auto marketing tech vendor, you know, you're around the edges of it. But I've learned a lot about, you know, where leg sits in a car deal, for instance, and how important it is for dealers to be able to have freedom to accommodate the customer's needs and find profit in different parts of the transaction as best they can, because it's not an easy business.
Right.
And you know, I think the dealer body will continue to adapt and figure out how to deal with all the forces at work. You know, with lots of things happening now with the move toward electrification, with the many moves by OEMs to encroach into the traditional retail model, using electrification as a Trojan horse. But I think the dealers are the best players to continue retailing cars in our industry, and
I agree.
The OEMs will, I think, will learn that over time. Their experiments will likely fail, and the dealers are going to be the ones that they count on to continue to support local customers, selling and servicing cars on a local level with passionate local sales and service teams that don't do things in a totally formulaic or cookie cutter way, because consumers are different, brands are different, dealers are different, and markets are different.
I agree. I believe in that snowflake thing. Everything is so different. You can't expect everyone to do it the same way, the same steps. Every dealership's different, even in the same auto groups, either people, the management, the groups, the salespeople. So you have to really look at it as a evolving thing, constantly looking for the best way to do it with your best skill sets, right? But having the type of tools that you're talking about, having the people around you that understand that, make a huge difference. Folks, you got to reach out to A2Z Sync. I'm telling you, they're on top of it. And if they don't have what you're looking for, they will get you connected with the right people. That's what's really amazing. You know, throughout this whole career of yours, you've had some great mentors. I love how you lean into your dealers too, because that's important, because they're out there. They know what's really happening. They're there every single day in the trenches, trying to make sure that this war happens the way we need it to happen. But with the customers out there, they really need a better system, right? They need to quit feeling like they're fighting the dealers. And that's what I believe you guys are doing. You're trying to make it very seamless. Now, throughout your career, you've had ups and downs. You've had lessons learned. What has been the greatest lesson that you've learned up to this point in your career?
I think the biggest lesson is to stay true to your beliefs in what's right for your customers and for the industry. I think that we all encounter times in our lives when you get into disagreements, and you know, I believe that it's important to be able to disagree without being disagreeable and to find a solution. But I think you have to follow your North Star, what you believe is true and right and real and important. And so my North Star has always been to try to find the best, most practical areas for improvement in the efficiency of the automotive industry, whether it's in marketing now and in the world of actual retail transactions. So that's what I would suggest people think about. Follow your North Star of what you truly believe and you're passionate in.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for that, Chip. And that's exactly how my heart feels. I know what my North Star is right now, at least, right? And I'm looking at it every single day, and that helps me guide me everywhere. No matter what distractions come up, I can look at my North Star and figure out where I need to go, right? And that's important, Chip. That's a very, very, very good lesson to share with people. And I hope you guys hear that. Take that. That is actually a really, really deep thing if you really think about that, my friends. A lot of us get distracted very easily. We want to do a million different things, but go back to your North Star, know exactly what you really love to do, and do that. Because when you have passion behind what you do, things tend to get really great. And that's something I think you lead the way with, Chip, is that you bring passion to what you do. You're around, you're trying to put your face out there. You always talk about your products with such grace. Even with this interview, you're so knowledgeable about your product. To be the CEO, you have to understand that you have to know all these things. But at the same time, you have a team of people that really help you along the way. But to be able to speak about your product the way you are, and about past products, and about the people around you, and it's amazing to know your knowledge it pours out so smoothly. And it's important to understand that. So know your North Star. He does. There's no doubt he does. And I appreciate that you do. And that's an important little step for all of us to be able to learn. When we're young, we think we could do a million things, and we can. But when you focus on the thing that you feel like you love the most and you could be really great at, boy, does that explode. That's when you go from good to great. And that's important. Chip, appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely love it. And the understanding that Chip is a complete solutionary, everybody, one that does forgive and focus, right? Focus on what it is that is the center point, keeping his eyes fixed on a direction that he wants to go, not being lost by the distractions, but also not being thrown off step by the hurdles. And that's something that one takes good people to speak into your life and to help keep you on course, while at the same time the accountability of having other people listen to you so that they can stay on course as well. And I'm sure that has brought so many things in balance while you achieve so many different things, while you dream bigger, while you stay youthful because of the excitement of the people around you. And I'm sure that, again, you can go through a litany of people that have influenced you and the rewards inside of your career thus far. But on this show, we want to definitely squeeze this bean and find out what, for Chip Perry, has been your greatest reward to date.
Well, I would say my greatest reward has been the joy of watching the people who've been part of the companies that I've been fortunate to lead be successful themselves, grow their careers, improve their ability to earn a great living for their families, do things that they never dreamed possible. So I used to say that you could look at the company we work for as a receptacle into which you can pour all your work-related passions and know you're going to get a great payoff. And the people did that. And watching them grow and thrive and be successful, hearing from them later about the things they did in later parts of their career, or their families that grew, the kids they put to college through college, based upon the success they had at our company. That was probably the most fulfilling. And then the other thing was watching our clients be so successful. I loved working with independent dealers.
Yes.
And I was Autotrader.com because it was a family decision often to invest in some new expense category called digital marketing back then. And I can remember sitting with independent dealers and their wives in their kitchen, explaining what we were doing, and because it was the profits of the family income in those businesses, and so if you're going to make an expense that has uncertain return, it's a family decision. So helping dealers sell cars very efficiently, and a lot of them. And reap their economic rewards from that was very satisfying for me. So helping dealers succeed and win, and our customers, our employees succeed and win. That was what I think fed our culture, drove our culture, drove our passions, made us come to work every day. And I once had a great boss who said, "Chip, if you can create a culture where people want to come to work and put forth their best effort while they're there, there's no way you can't succeed."
Come on.
So I've always believed that, great strategies are very important. You got to have, you have to really understand the economics of the industry. You have to figure out what your source of competitive advantage is, all that classical B school stuff. I had a chance to work at McKinsey & Company along the way and learned a lot there.
Awesome.
How to deconstruct an industry and a value chain and all that. But it's the people side that's most important. Having an energized team that sees the goal, passionately seeks it, works together well. And obviously there's, always disagreements and egos and challenges and hurdles along the way. But when you overcome them and you look back and say, wow, we did something, that's pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
It is really exciting. And what you've done has been really exciting for the industry, for the people in the industry, for the clients that come in and buy vehicles in our industry. Since day one, you've been in this industry, and I think that's a big deal. And no kidding, we've heard this before, folks, and I think you guys could agree. Wherever Chip goes, he's going to leave his mark. They call that the Chip Perry era. And when you're part of the Chip Perry era, you are so blessed. It's
awful nice of you to say that. The thing that I think that is most common amongst our customers that I want to comment on and praise is this notion of obsession.
Oh, yes.
Beyond passion is obsession. And I see a real obsession amongst our customers to fundamentally retool the customer retail experience. And when I studied the words customer obsession, I suggest your audience go out and Google these two words, customer obsession.
Okay.
I discovered a whole body of literature I didn't know about, where consultants and big companies have been focused for years on obsessing around all the details of the customer experience. Companies like Ritz-Carlton and Nordstrom, these are retailers, and others that we know about in our lives, Apple and Amazon. And I discovered also along the way that when we Google these two words, that Amazon has 14 leadership principles, 14.
Yes.
And Jeff Bezos articulated them with his team over the years, and they're very proud of them. If you go to the Amazon headquarters, they'll show you them on a piece of paper. But number one on their list is customer obsession.
Yep.
And Jeff Bezos said everything they do is built from the customer back, and they focus on it, all the details of it, end to end. So when I work with the Liza Borges of the world and the John Malashenkos and the Steve Germains and the Brian Benstocks, I see in them this same drive and passion around being so obsessed about the customer experience. So I think customer obsession it will be a theme that I think will grow in our industry.
Amen.
Not just customer centricity, not just customer focused, not just customer friendly, but truly customer obsessed.
I love that.
And that customer obsession drives dealers like our clients to be willing to do the work, to look at the details of the process, focus on the pain points, not accept them, not tolerate them, but actually to address them and fix them. And one of the biggest ones is the amount of time it takes to buy a car.
Come on.
And the complexity of the transaction.
Amen.
And why shouldn't it be simpler? Why shouldn't it be more efficient? That's what we're trying to do at A2Z, and our team is leading the charge. We're delighted to be trying to take that hill with a bunch of zealous, passionate, customer-obsessed dealers.
Well,
wow.
To the land of solutions we go.
Yes.
Chip Perry carrying the guide on and showing all of us how to get there. You definitely know the way. You've been showing the way, and brother, you continue to go the way. And that's why we honor you. We honor everything it is that you're pouring out. But seriously, folks, you hear that? That's got to be something that gets plugged inside of your chest. For those of you that got a fist and got a chest, hit that chest one time and make sure that this does penetrate the heart, that ultimately you're finding out whether or not you want to push that envelope. If we get complacent with being where it is that we are, we're going to miss it all, pass us up. And ultimately, the best way to get where it is we want to go is help other people go where they want to as well. And the Incredibles, the Zig Ziglars, all these incredible leaders and speakers and sales pros have taught us that the best way for us to get what it is that we want is to make sure that we do have that obsession with our customer. And we are so thankful that there's people like you that keep poking that truth inside of us so that we don't get caught up with the problems that do percolate all around us, and we do consistently brew solutions. Chip, there's so much that we can say. There's so much that we can do in keeping this great conversation going. And we want to have you back for an incredible follow-up because there's so much that's in you. There's so much that we can draw out of this.
I know we barely tapped into what Chip can bring value to this industry and also to all you. The puppy comes around. But folks, if you guys want to get some more information about his company, go to their website. It's A2Z Sync.com. Very easy to get a hold of anyone there. If you guys have any other questions, you could always reach out to Lou and I, 321-FRED-LOU. We're always available to speak to you about anybody who comes on the show, any product that's on the show. We'll be happy to pass on the information to anybody that you want to contact with. But Chip, what an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for the time. I know that your time is valuable. It looks like you're at home with family and stuff. Thank you for giving us this hour of your day, of your life, to be able to share your story and share it to our audience. It means a lot to us. You definitely got me all pumped up to go out the rest of this day and just be the best and be obsessed with my customers, right? That's an important thing. And as a leader, that's where we need to start. It's about the customers, not about our competitors. It's about our customers first. And if you do that, you will grow massively. That's important stuff there.
Thank you, Fred and Lou. You guys are champs. And I know that you embrace this belief that nothing wilts as fast as laurels rest.
Come on. Ooh. Amen. Dropping mics right now, folks. So we're going to go ahead and head out on that note. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. For those of you that have been listening on the podcast, make sure that you share this around. There's so much great information that Chip has poured out, not just about his company, but about the incredible solutionary that he is, which is exactly why it is that we're honored to be with you. It doesn't matter what company it is you have, Chip. The character and the man that you have been to this industry is someone that we want to honor, and we always want to know what's going on with Chip, because that era is not done. You have a legacy inside of this industry that can always point back to what it is you've poured out into it, and we're so thankful for that, and we want to gleam just like you are. My friend, thank you so much for being on this show with us today. Thank you for pouring out with us today. It's
been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
No doubt about it. Well, folks, we all know the deal. Chip Perry is 100% CGC approved. That's right. We appreciate you. And A2Z Sync is CGG approved. That's right. We appreciate you all so much. Thank you, Chip, once again. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. If you're watching this on the replay, give us some likes. Let us know what you think. Let Chip Perry know how much you love him and what he's done for our industry. Folks, we love you guys. I'm Fred Lenartz, the Subprime Hero.
And I'm Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy. And we've been brewing solutions with Car Guy Coffee Podcast with the one,
the only Chip Perry.
So let's forget, focus, and fly and head out, everybody, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Forgive.
Focus, fly, and keep growing.
Keep growing. We love you, Chip. We appreciate you, brother. Have an incredible time. Solutionaries, rise up.
That's right.